YouTube.
Should be up and running, I think.
It says waiting.
Well, maybe it's not.
Gherk's a really very experienced streamer, and his streams are of the highest quality. Please clap.
Yeah. Well, stuff.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay, so hopefully this.
Right. Is that working? Okay. And then that's also working. Cool. Yeah, should be up and running. Looks like it is, at least.
I guess your input on whether I'm interpreting things correctly and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I want to start with GME, mostly because it's just what I think is like an easier chain to read, and then look for some validation of whether I'm interpreting things correctly.
Okay.
Okay, so looking at like the Greek spy strike, the like, so delta, so spot is like 24-ish or so. I guess net delta at like 24 and a half is like pretty low. I'm guessing all of the net delta that's like positive between kind of 23 and 24 is like acting as kind of like support for the stock price, and maybe a little grindy in that range. Am I kind of right with that?
Yeah, it could be like it's kind of like a cushion.
Those aren't very supportive. If anything,
So how would you?
They're gonna kind of fall off. Well, I mean, none of those have more delta than the delta at spot. So if the delta at spot is lost, like if 24 has failed or acts as resistance and GME falls back down, it's probably going to move through 23 and 2250 pretty easily. Because the momentum in this sell-off of dealer delta from losing 24 is likely to drive more sell-off in the strikes below it. So generally, you would be looking for a level that would have higher delta to act as support, not levels that have lower delta. So like 20 is a solid support, but 2350 and 23 and 2350 are not.
So once it basically breaks down under 24, it's got like, I guess, potentially starting to get some momentum that can take it down to 20, which would be like the next support.
Well, no, like 2250, and then it gets grindy again. Because there's not a lot of delta at 2250 or 2150, but there's some delta at 22 and 21. So those could act as like that range is kind of choppy, like under 23 down to 20.
Right.
But 20 is the next like major support.
Yeah. So it's, most likely going to kind of probably chop between kind of the 23 to 24 range. And then if it slips below 23, then it can potentially move a little quicker down to 20, or at least easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then like looking to the upsides, like the big wall at 25 is like kind of big resistance and unlikely for it to break past that without probably some, massive call buying or other event that drives interest, right?
Yeah, I mean, these are like all calls. There's barely any puts on the chain at all.
Yeah. So probably like sold calls or
Yeah, most likely. Or at least the 25s probably are. 24s might be as well. You can take a look at IV. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, IV's been coming down, so I would say at least some of the calls to the upside are sold. It definitely looks like 25 is pretty heavily. Maybe 23 also. Yeah, all three of those might be sold calls, to be honest.
yeah. Well, I sold a bunch of 24 today, so some of those are probably mine.
Mm.
Okay, and then so I've heard you like kind of mention before, like there's obviously it's probably not so much on this chain, but when there's like negative delta to squeeze, um, that's basically just like pressuring puts to sell out, and then as they sell out, that's uh, helping the price increase, right?
No, you've got the market makers basically bidding up the price when strikes that have like in the money puts go out of the money, which is where you would see negative delta to the upside of spot. So that's like the market makers like bid to cover. As price rises, they have to buy the underlying. But there's like no puts on the chain, so I don't think that's really relevant here. There's also really no
Yeah,
negative delta anywhere.
just a general comment or observation, that one question
Yeah.
that I had. Okay, and then looking at the gamma curve, it's basically topped out. So again, kind of like
Pretty
that
close to it,
yeah, 25 is kind of that big wall that's like,
Gamma falls off
yeah,
very fast to the downside till you get down to 2250, which is what we talked about, and then it kind of starts to shallow out. There's not a lot of
yeah,
gamma below that, or well, less gamma falls off per
right,
dollar move in price below that.
yeah. And then for like the uh, OI heat map, these are reflecting like changes to uh, those contracts and like strike dates
Yeah.
uh, just by that particular date. So like 226, this would be like the changes plus and minus at all the various strikes just for that date, right?
For this morning.
Correct.
Yeah, but kind of reflecting like
This is not actually, this is the same as 225 right now. And in the morning, the 226 will update. So we've probably got to work on how we display that so it's a little less confusing. But yeah, that's basically what you're seeing. Is you're seeing Thursday's market open OI right now, and then tomorrow morning you'll see the 226 OI from market close.
Right. Yeah.
But
And
this,
then
I mean,
in terms of
this confirms what we kind of thought about those calls, because IV at those strikes is dropping and OI on those calls is increasing, which means that those calls are likely being sold.
and you're looking at that in the like on your IV chart, right?
Yeah. If you go look at IV10, it's down. If you go look at the smile, it's flat. Like between 25 and 23, Ivy's just
Right.
crushed.
Yeah.
So basically all the at the money strikes, Ivy's super crushed on those. Yeah. And then those are being opened. So you have contracts opening, but Ivy going down, which means those contracts are probably being sold.
Yeah.
Or at
And
least
then
the
in terms of
majority
like,
of those contracts are being sold.
right. And in general, like as I, kind of analyze various stocks and go through, um, like all the different charts and things, like what else would you recommend kind of taking a look at? It's like I basically like there's so much, and my brain is so small. Uh, like Vega and Charm and Speed and Vana and
I mean, I don't really think you're gonna get too much of an effect from any of those on GME, given that like 80% of the options contracts on the chain are within $1 of spot. So
right,
Speed and Vana and Vega will matter on the out of the money stuff. Vega would matter if GME started running, as would Vana. But since GME is not really doing anything, they don't matter much. The chain's pretty boring. So I mean, you're looking at the right thing by just looking at delta there, but those things do have importance. It's just not on this stock so much. Not unless things are really moving. You get a 10% update on GME or something, and then maybe like a 20% update on GME, and then you might have you might be a little bit more focused on Vana and Vega for figuring out like upside price targets, like how far above Gamma Max could it run if it runs above Gamma Max. But GME hasn't done that in so long that it's just like I
right
don't really think it's that important.
there. Okay. And then maybe shifting to like one of the Meg 7 stocks like Microsoft. So obviously like a much different stock, lots more interest and much
Yeah,
bigger chain
yeah,
and all of that.
significantly.
And so I guess starting to look at like Greeks by Strike, uh, Net Delta,
Is that
there's
where
like
you
a huge
start? I almost always start with the neutrals, Dex, and Gex. Then I move on to
okay,
Greek by Strike. Because the
right,
neutrals are probably going to give you the best sense of like neutrals, Dexa and Gax are probably going to give you the best sense of like what's going on broadly on the chain. Like, is this getting more bullish? Is this getting less bullish? Is it getting bearish? Is it kind of neutral? And so I would be looking at I would start at neutrals. Then you go deeper and you look at local price targets in Greeks by Strike. Then you confirm those price targets by determining botness and soldness on the volatility page. You can use the gamma curve alongside Greeks by Strike, and then I would say, you can further confirm your bot soldness by using the OI heat map.
okay. So maybe
And so brick by brick, you got to build a picture of what positioning looks like and
right,
what the market is, looking at and what the market is pricing in, and then that informs your decision on your options position.
and I mean I can have or at least download my or my thoughts or interpretation of this, but is there like you guys don't have um like I don't know, like a I don't know answer key in a way to kind of like
You just want a flow
point
chart
that.
for how to analyze stocks. I mean,
Well, not
you got to
not so
kind
much
of.
that, but like things to look at that looking at like the neutrals like delta neutral and gamma neutral, they're like pretty flat over the past like 2-3 days. Like
Really?
looking at
Oh,
Dex.
okay. Yeah, those are flattening out. So positioning is not moving anymore. At least the distribution of positioning is not shifting anymore. which does, indicate that things are becoming more supportive. For the last like 6 or 7 days, you've been seeing a little bit more buying on the call side, or at least, buying of options. So probably, you know, calls being bought, given that Gamma Max is moving down, right? So the peak of Gamma is getting closer and closer to spot as DEXA moves up, and so that's telling you that the price target that people are, looking at towards the upside, or kind of where everyone's piling in, is, what is that, like 549, 550. So a lot of people targeting the 550 strike, and that's kind of heaping all the Gamma up right there, and that that's been shifting down, probably because everybody's been piling into the 550 strike for the last like 2 weeks, and now there's probably a fairly substantial amount of Gamma there. Gamma's been picking up, so there's more short dated interest, and Delta's been rising, so some of that support that's coming in is getting a little bit more durable and a little bit more bullish, and and then it pushed off of Gamma neutral, which it didn't really fail the other day, and it's pushed back above Delta neutral. So you have a little bit of positive Gamma on the dealer side, preventing downside sell-offs, and you've got a little bit of positive Delta, kind of helping push things higher. So I mean, I would say that Microsoft looks moderately bullish here, and then you would drill down. Then you would want to go look at this and see, what does it need to break? What can it drop to? And like you got a little bit of support from Gamma at 400, but not a lot, and you have a ton of resistance right above spot at 405. Excuse me. Out here, you start to run into all your puts above spot on Delta. So if this can get out above like 405, 410, you start to get this really thin Gamma where positioning is contested. Right. So if we look at puts and calls, you can see that they're roughly equal at every strike.
Yeah.
And so basically, given that that there's Gamma to the upside that'll help move that Delta, and that there's the combined Delta in those strikes is fairly flat. If this gets up above, was that 407.50, really above 405, it's going to start moving. And it's probably going to move all the way out to 420, but then it can keep going. These are the Delta of these strikes is still pretty low, and you don't run into like a bigger resistance till you get up to like 440, 445, 450. In that range, price action will start to slow down. But by looking at the two of those charts, this tells you you do have some downside Delta support. So even though the Gamma's thin, there's a decent amount of Delta there propping up price, and you can see where the breakout is to the upside, which means that if you think it's bullish, then you would want to buy at support. You'd want to go long, and then you'd want to confirm that buy on a breakout at like 407.50, and then if it does break out, a safe price target to the upside's like 420, where you could start taking some profit, because there's a little bit of resistance there. But if it continues, you can take profit at 430 and 440 before you run into like bigger resistance. And when you run into bigger resistance, that's when you probably want to be mostly out of your position. Maybe you have a couple of runners, and so, I mean, this can even show you how to scale, like where to scale out of your position. Because you have one range that's very tight, where price is highly probable to move through that range, and that's 407.50 to 420. So you've got a $13 range right there that's very likely. And then every step above that probabilistically becomes a lower and lower chance. But I mean, so you have a really good range to target, and then you can kind of like take your chances with further targets out of the money.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I don't know. probably go back and rewatch it and make sure I understand. But yeah.
And then you can go deeper, right? You can go out here, and you think calls are being bought, you think people are getting bullish, but skew's kind of flat. So puts are still staying priced relatively equal to calls over the last few days. So we're not getting a ton of bullishness. But then we want to see, is IV going up? And that's also not, right? Those are kind of flat. IV 30's kind of starting to turn up a little. So is the 60. And then so is the 90, right? So IV 10, not so super bullish. But the 30, 60, 90 are kind of starting to move up. So we're definitely seeing some, call buying, but it seems like it's further out. And that might be like a good time to look at your surface and see maybe where that is. And that might be out here, where we're kind of starting to see volatility pick up to the upside. There's a little bit here, but not, that's very short expiration. And we know that's mixed because IV10 here is pretty flat. You can also look at your gamma curve. So, like you get up to like 412 and the gains in gamma start to flatten out, which actually makes like that 420 target even a little bit more difficult. Because like once you get above was that like 412.50, like the increases in gamma flatten. But the downside's kind of dangerous. There's some near-term support there, but just near-term support. And if that falls away, this can fail, which makes it kind of high risk. And then I guess lastly, you would check this out, and it kind of looks like there's some puts being opened below spot. Those might be being sold, but that one's kind of hard to tell because skew's flat. There's very little call interest on the chain, really just at like, was that 405 and 407.50? So that further reduces the like upside range that you got from the Greek SPY strike. So there's really like, what is it, trading at 402 right now? Oh, it closed under 400 today. That's not great. So I mean, yeah, that's kind of shitty. I guess it moved down in the overnight session.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to it. I think 4 p.m. close was like 401, so I guess it must have dipped down a bit. All right, that's helpful.
Yeah, it looks like it sold off hard overnight. Caught a bounce at 395. So actually, if you're looking here, it already slipped this support and started failing.
So then falling
down into the negative gamma. There is some delta support at 390, 385, a little bit at 395. So this is still acting as support overnight. But it did fail this like local support, which was a bit smaller.
So then when you're looking at like
spots,
when you're looking at like delta and gamma support, like you have to consider both of them, or is one way more than the other? Like how do you kind of weigh that on the gamma, like the next biggest support I think was like 380 or something like that, and then on delta it's like, I don't know,
gamma's the change in delta. So if you have a lot of gamma, then the delta at that strike will change very rapidly, negative or positive gamma. If you don't have a lot of gamma, then the delta won't change very fast.
Yeah.
That's something you probably see on the intraday on SPX a lot, where you get like the gamma at spot will be flat, and the gamma below us will be very negative, and the gamma above us will be very positive, and then spot just gets stuck. And that's because the small fluctuations in price, there's not enough gamma for the price for any like substantial change in delta to occur. So, you're getting like 50-cent dollar moves, but like there's never enough of a shift for the dealer to start hedging again, and so you don't see any momentum or price action being driven by the dealer because spot's kind of stuck. But if you cross one of those, if you like lose the high gamma strike to the downside, or bulls push it up above the high gamma strike to the upside, then it'll break out. That's because gamma changes very, very fast, and then delta changes very fast as those strikes go in the money or out of the money. That makes sense?
Ish.
Okay. It does help to read the docs.
Yeah, I'll go back and read. Listen to what you said again, and then read some of the docs and see if I understand. And I can always come back with a different stock next week.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's it. That's it for me. Thanks, guys.
Well, thanks for hopping up, Jeff. See you later, man.
Yeah, the docs are the holy scriptures of Gammastrike.
I mean, they're good. They're dry. They can be hard to translate into interpretation because they are just fact, right?
J-Fresh is right here, dude.
Okay. I am right here, and I am offended.
You
I
guys
put in moving graphs with colors.
You guys have put in the hours into understanding Greeks and how they function and how dealers hedging functions to a point where you implicitly understand what is going on. But for other people to take what does gamma mean and then translate that into what effect does that have on price action is a very different topic than what the docs address. Is that better?
Well, that shit is everywhere on the internet. Just go look up what is gamma.
Well, no, we answer what is gamma. That's what the docs do. But answering what does the gamma do and how does it affect my shitty position that I bought? That's for the round. That's why we're doing this. That's why we're here.
Yeah, but we also talk about that in the docs too. You didn't read all the docs, did you? You got to read them all.
Yeah,
It is a single unit published together. It does not make sense in pieces. It will make sense in pieces as a reference.
Well, you released it in pieces, so I read it in pieces. But I have read the whole thing. But I read
it. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people in general. If you don't have a grasp of the background, all of it was literally built piece by piece to form a whole. And so if you're not reading all of it, you're only going to get pieces of the whole.
I realize he's not talking to me. Although I do feel like somewhere in there he was saying I didn't read the docs. Mind you, not that I need to, okay?
Nobody said you did. I'm sorry, I've been talking to AI all day. I'm like super pissed off.
You'd think you'd have a super huge ego from that because they're so sycophantic.
No, I'm trying to solve a problem that I can't solve because I don't know C++.
No, the ego was formed long before the pickle jar.
I have no ego. I have a desire to get results.
I know. So I love that about you.
Yeah, it's the kind of shit I'm into as well.
It's not March yet.
Well,
yeah,
no.
I'm about to channel all of this pissed off AI energy. I'm about to
Right on
Yeah,
my
what are you
face.
doing? Are you just
transfer
like
it.
jamming out on Gemini every day so that you can enrage yourself for an entire month?
I am currently messing with Gemini because the free version is actually significantly better than ChatGPT.
Mm.
But my problem is I'm trying to work with open source dog shit that has terrible documentation, and there's probably a simple answer, but it just doesn't exist on the internet.
Well,
Basically, I'm trying to generate heat in plastically deformed objects.
so virtually,
And the code is detecting the mechanical deformation, the mechanical loss of energy, or the mechanical dissipation of energy, but it's not talking to the thermal model to heat it up.
Hmm.
And there's just probably some stupid thing to get them to talk to each other. And I've been going in circles with ChatGPT or with Gemini, just like, oh, try this, oh, try that. And half the time now, we've gone in so many circles, it tells me to try the thing it just told me to try after I copied and pasted the error that came out of it.
Oh, that's because you don't
yeah,
have the pro. You got to pay for the pro version.
Oh, and then I got to pay for the Ultra Pro version, and then I have to
Yeah. Now you
stick a
got it.
cucumber into my ass. And yeah, I get it. I know. I
That's
haven't
because
quite
the
gotten to
pro
the cucumber in
version,
the ass phase.
the
But
pro version will suggest a new randomized answer, whereas the free
yeah.
version will just keep suggesting the same prior randomized answer,
Well,
so that they don't have to use additional compute. It makes
this is
sense.
it's a really weird situation that I'm in, because in the past when I first got AIDS, I was trying to solve unique problems that didn't really have any information on the internet, and so I was constantly finding that the AI was getting stuck, and I was constantly just restarting the conversation hoping that I would go somewhere different. But now that I'm working with a code base that has been developed over the course of 15 years, not very well, but I'm finding myself less willing to start over, because I have to sit here and like troubleshoot it, and half the things are like, oh, because this version of the open source fork that you're working with doesn't take this or that. And it's like, well, if I start over, I'm going to have the same conversation again just to get you back up to speed. It's weird. I've gotten AIDS twice now. We're not I've realized this the other day. We're not users of AI, we're victims of AI.
Hey, which one of you guys wants to explain charm to Pigeon or to Tom Tom? He says, I'm on a tour bus
I'll
right
give it a
now.
shot.
Can you explain charm again? I don't know how to read it even after the docs. I understand VRP better than charm.
I actually don't know what VRP stands for. Everyone started talking
Volatility
about it.
return premium. I can
I just
explain
got
VRP to you real
AVVC.
quick. Oh, yeah. Volatility return premium is the spread between the implied volatility at a date and the realized volatility at a date, and it is measured in vols. So if you have like an HV of 10 and an IV of 12, you have positive 2.0 vols of volatility return premium. And that is that makes,
So it's the spread between IV and HV.
Yeah, it makes selling calls slightly, or like selling options slightly better.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charm. Okay, think about it like this. When you buy a call out of the money, what happens to the value of that call as you continue to hold it, even if price doesn't go up? It goes to zero. Now, if you have a call that's in the money, what happens to that call over time if you hold on to it? The price goes to the, the strike minus the spot, right? And so if you think about it, all contracts are either decaying to 0 or to 1. They're either going to grow to 1 or decay to 0. Everything that's in the money over time will grow to 1. Everything that's out of the money will decay to 0. And the rate at which that happens is charm. That's basically it. And so you have to think about the trick comes from thinking about the entire chain and the charm in aggregate. Yeah, I'm talking about delta. So every chain is going to have some amount of contracts, some amount of calls that are in the money, and some amount of calls that are out of the money. And you have to ask yourself, are more calls in or out? If more calls are in, then delta is going to grow to 1 over time. Delta is going to grow, right? Same thing for puts. And so you could have a situation where if everybody's just long calls and they're all in the money, then as you go to expiration, the growth of that delta will support price. Now, a similar thing happens much more commonly is that everybody's short calls, like on indices and things. And so, you start out when they short it, there's some delta on it, and they want it all. They want the contracts to expire worthless. They want the contracts to expire at a delta of 0. The problem is that when they sold the call and gave the market maker that delta to hedge, the market maker had to sell the underlying to hedge that. But as that sold call decays, the market maker hedge decays. So they're buying as the calls are decaying. And so this is like the most common scenario that happens on the indices, especially now, and like especially with like Mag 7 and all of the covered call instruments that exist, is that everybody's selling calls and then those calls decay and then the market just plows into them and blows them up because the market makers have to buy as all those calls decay.
Well, it kind of there is one caveat to that. It depends on what time of day those calls are all sold at and like what level we're at.
I'm talking about longer time frames. I'm not talking about intraday.
Okay. Yeah, intraday it gets a bit
Int-
wonky because you can end up with like everybody selling puts and calls, and then like people like we move up really hard early in the day, and the call selling outweighs the put selling, which causes the sold puts to squeeze off and drops price really fast. And then that doesn't always recover due to the decay of the because the out of the money delta falls off so fast with a large drop that those like the effective charm from those out of the money calls decaying into close is a little bit less relevant.
Yeah, 0 DTE is really it's like hard mode because everything matters.
Yeah.
So usually charm is this like very gentle background like offset. Like it's either going to be supportive or suppressive, and it's just kind of going to gently bias whatever the price is doing due to other trading. It's not going to be the primary driver. But when you're at 0 DTEs, I mean, your charm can be as impactful as your gamma, or in some, and because it's as impactful as your gamma, it's going to influence people's open and closing habits. And so that will then also feed forward into delta, right? Because if they're closing contracts, it changes the delta. And so you have people that are trading delta in response to small changes in these second and third order Greeks that should normally be much smaller impacts, and so it basically just amplifies everything. So it's really hard to, like, if you're trading 0DTs, all of this stuff matters. And everything is very sensitive.
And Pigeon Will further clarified, I understand that, but how do you read that on the chart? I feel like the charm chart's the easiest one to read. It's like, I mean, like, this is, I just put up 0DT SPXW, and like, you see all the out of the money puts that are sold, and you see some of the in the money calls down there below spot, and then you see like above spot there's fuck all. That charm is going to be moderately supportive, unless during the intraday we see a lot of call selling or put buying to the upside that starts to shift that. But remember, charm on the 0DT is not very relevant until you get to like the very end of the day. So it'll depend where spot is at the end of the day. And that's when you really want to like reference charm, like your last like hour, last 30 minutes. You want to go look at it. And you want to look at, I mean, it's just think of it like a set of scales, right? Like you can even just look at the net and just think of it like a set of scales. I find that to be...
Yeah, you kind of have to visually integrate it. You basically have to ask yourself, is the left side bigger than the right side added up?
Yeah, and then also you can kind of cheat a little bit too, and then just look at delta flip. Where delta flips is usually roughly where charm has no effect. Like I rarely have ever seen them more than like a couple bucks apart. Where charm is just
short term
zeroed out. Yeah. So short like
term,
if you're below delta flip, or the further you are below delta flip, the more charm is going to push the market down into close. Further you are above delta flip, the more it's, and that's also true of delta neutral out on the overnight. So if you're approaching like an OPEX and you're way the fuck above delta neutral, all of that delta is going to be pushing spot up. It is going to be incrementally increasing the amount of delta that the market makers need to buy. And if you're below delta neutral, like going into a major expiration, then that's going to be pushing the market down. And that's why there's like a lot of times, that's why like OPEXs have such wild price action around them, is because all that delta goes poof. And the market maker, if they're over long the delta, they're going to dump it. And if they're over short delta, they're gonna buy. And so both of kind of like that all that delta falling off after the expiration creates kind of like a bit of mean reversion. Not always, because obviously everybody can pile back into options after the expiration, but it usually has some effect.
That's charm for you.
Yep.
I mean, I like to think of charm differently. I mean, I've explained it ad nauseum, but it's basically the rate of change of the odds of your contract closing in the money, right?
Yeah.
So, that's I mean, in my small brain, I try to keep things very simple, and it's just, like if you imagine a contract right at the money or a little bit out of the money, if you're far enough away, it's pretty much 50-50. But if you're like really close to that contract expiring, I mean, the odds are very different, right? So it's just that the charm is a way to explain that, and we do it in notional terms too. So as the odds shift, how too does the delta hedge change, right? And that's why we do it in like dollars per day. You could do like dollars per year, or whatever, but we do the conversion to make it like a number that like makes sense for intuition, you know?
I wonder if we could figure out a way to do like when we do the portfolio stuff that we want to build. I wonder if we could figure out a way to do like the gamma of theta, like angular velocity.
We can do all kinds of weird shit.
Yeah, we just gotta get Dork to put some work in again.
God damn it, dude!
Got
It's
him.
not worked yet.
Yeah, what the fuck, Dork? Do you not love us anymore?
I know.
What's happening?
You've got what? It's a short month. You've got 2 days, 3 days.
Look, I actually honestly need until that Friday, the first, like at the end of the first week.
Yeah, you can have till tomorrow.
Have you tried doing what I do and working 8 hours and then working another 8 hours in the second half of the day?
Surprisingly enough, I have been doing that for the past 3 weeks, and I'd like to get back to at least some normalcy before I go for it again. We're getting there.
All right.
But yeah, I gotta travel for work next week. So you know what? I'll put some work in the first half of the week. Everything should be shaping up for me to be able to do that. But yeah,
I just want Nuke to finish all his shit so I can stream goodies on stream again. Goodies that
I know,
other people
dude.
can't have. That's my favorite part about building this. And like, you take
Yeah,
that away
has
from
Nuke,
me, and I feel dead.
Has
I feel dead
Nick
inside.
got his shit together yet? He's really taking his sweet time.
I don't know. He's had so much shit to deal with.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
He'll be
my,
back
I liked my scales analogy.
It's good.
Yeah. I mean, easy to understand at least. I think most people know how scales work.
My analogies usually revolve around the casino
Nice.
and odds and all that. Like I'm all about the odds.
So your analogies are just the mathematical definition of the thing in question.
That's exactly correct.
Nice.
It makes you realize it's all just gambling.
It's way better
like
than
it's
gambling.
It's like a roulette table where you put the chips on random squares because it makes you feel better about losing money.
Interesting.
I actually feel like I think there's actually like a distribution of bets on random squares that would probably nets a slight edge in roulette.
Or you just play craps where the odds are statistically in your favor.
Better, not in your favor.
No, they're both statistically they're the most in your favor. I mean, I guess you could just go like on black on the roulette table and have 50-50 exact.
Isn't
craps
blackjack?
Is like 51%.
Isn't blackjack like 54%?
No, blackjack is only profitable if you count cards, and even then, when you're counting like the you're basically getting paid like by the casino to gamble, and when you put it out to the hourly wage that you get from counting cards, it's something like I think it was like $40 an hour or something unimpressive like that.
you can't count cards. You can't cart cards at fucking like any major casino I've been to. They all use like for blackjack, they all use like multiple decks and electric shufflers now. And they add they all add decks of cards during like live tables. So you have just no fucking clue what the distribution of face cards is.
Well, I
read the whole MIT book and like immediately was like, I can do that. That's fucking easy. And I went and did it. And like all of the casinos just have systems in place to like kill that.
Well, plus they can just tell you to not play blackjack anymore too. They just walk up to you and say, you can play any other thing you want. You just can't play blackjack. That's what they're allowed to do.
Yeah, they do that. Or they just throw you the fuck out. And then if you accidentally do win a bunch of money off of them, they'll break your legs in the fucking basement.
No, they're not allowed to do that shit anymore. It's gotten better since the like 90s.
You mean like mid 2000s?
Yeah, like they're not allowed to like actually hurt you anymore. They just can basically say you're not allowed to play on this thing. And then they can ask you to leave if you continue to do it.
I don't know. The last guy I saw get caught cheating, was at like, it was like, God, I can't remember the name of the place. It's like O'Malley's. It's like a shithole bar in Vegas. But they have like tables inside, and it's like right on the strip on like the corner, but it's like down towards the bad end of the strip where like Flamingo and shit is.
Oh yeah,
And
where the Elvis actors start to turn into just like male hookers.
yeah. And like some dude tried to cheat, and then he got tackled by like 350-pound security guards, and it looked like his whole body was crushed. So I think they can still hurt you. No, it wasn't Fremont Street. It's on the strip. Well, I haven't been there in forever, so maybe it's not anymore, but it used to be. It's got some shitty Irish name.
O'Malley's. Super Irish.
No, Flamingo is not across the street from Bellagio and Caesars. It's like catty corner to them, and it's garbage. And then things just get progressively worse from there as you move up towards Circus Circus.
Circus Circus is the pinnacle of Vegas.
It's the pinnacle of shitholes. I stayed at Circus Circus one time, and like a guy was just trying to sell me meth like right on the casino floor.
I mean, that doesn't sound too unusual, if I'm being quite honest.
I was like, I don't want any meth. And he's like, if you don't have the money, I can follow you back to your room. And I'm like, you're a meth dealer. Why the fuck would I ever have a meth dealer follow me back to my room?
So was it any good?
He didn't have an answer for that. No, he just walked
Did he
away.
have a nice cock?
Huh?
Right, but
Did he
was
have a
the
nice
meth
dick?
you bought any good?
I didn't buy the meth. I told him I didn't want meth, but to him that meant I didn't have the money for meth. Which I still don't really understand how my response elicited that.
So long story short, you tried the meth. Was it any good?
The only meth I've ever tried is like Adderall. No, it just makes me do like clean my house in like a really panicky way.
Well, that sounds nice.
No, it's not. It's oppressive. It's an oppressive feeling of having to do whatever task I started, or having to do 800 tasks that I thought of because I hadn't already started a task.
Wait, if I feel like that all the time,
you might have ADHD.
Fuck. I knew it.
Yeah, me too. Don't worry. Could be autism. Hyper focus.
Probably.
Yeah.
I was trying to make eye contact today at the grocery store and having trouble. I don't know. I need Nuke to give me his unfiltered opinion since he met me.
Severely artistic.
I'm not very artistic at all.
I don't think I have ADHD, although I don't know. I definitely have problems. I don't know what they are because they've not been properly diagnosed. But they're there. JFresh has similar problems. That's why we get along so well.
It's presumptuous, telling me how I feel.
It's not. You've literally told me, hey, that's exactly how I feel. I'm like, hey, you ever start doing a thing and then look up 18 hours later and you've been doing that thing the whole time? And you're like, yeah, I do that all
Yeah,
the
I'm
time.
doing
I'm
that
like,
right.
me too.
I'm
Yeah.
doing that right now.
Okay,
I still just fucking around with
I feel like
C++.
that's an implicit like verbal transaction that occurred. I don't feel like I'm making any assumptions. I know you might not like that, but that doesn't make it less implicit.
My current impulse is to say, fuck this stupid open source library. I should just code this from scratch, but that would probably take longer. And so I just want to figure out how to get this shit to work.
But I have a question. If you did it from scratch, would it then be the perfect representation of the thing you want?
Don't do this. Nope. I've already been through this in my mind. The answer is yes, and I can't go there. Because I don't have the time and resources to drop everything and do that.
Don't you have an intern or some sort of student who can do bitch work like that and write a bunch of C++?
Sure, yeah, bitch work of just like just shit out a full open source package library that that's a
Well, that's what you
reasonable
gotta-
request out of an
you gotta-
average 22-year-old child.
No, you get like, don't you have like some PhD students that you can get together in a group and be like, since you guys are paying to be here, I need you to do work.
Yes, I employ PhD students, but you are already vastly overestimating how productive that would be. I would have to basically fund that effort for at least a year or more before I even had a hope of like maybe something will start to come out of it.
You know, the other day I started trading gold and I just forgot that I was supposed to stream. But I was trading it so well that I just like,
Yeah.
it was good. It was a good feeling.
You know, JFresh, it could be worse though. It could
Raise
be
your
an
expectations.
API manufacturer role.
Dork has really misrepresented what effective programming should be.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a shit hot programmer by any stretch of the imagination.
This isn't a macro discussion, Spaghetti Banjo. He's working on things for his job, not Gammastrike.
Yeah, he already solved the stock market.
Do we get another question? You look at support and resistance. You combine the information you see from both delta and gamma to determine it, right? Yes. Do I want a gamma weighted delta chart? Maybe.
Listen,
Dork, did you hear that?
I've got
Gamma weighted delta chart?
Did you hear me issue you instructions via whim?
I'm first in line because I
Wait, hold on. What do you mean you're
dev'd
first in
for,
line?
like,
I wrote
3
an
weeks
entire
straight.
roadmap of all the features I wanted months and months before you ever decided to get a bug up your ass about volatility.
No. I go to first in line. You don't pay for the service. You don't get to just magically get in the front of the line. I put in the work.
Wait,
The people
are you paying for Gammastrike? Are you one of our subscribers?
No.
Stop embezzling
But
money.
I put in a month of work developing these two features.
I stood up in a meeting and talked for 2 hours and issued my decrees.
Yeah. As you do, yes.
Yeah. I don't understand how those are different. I'm gonna give Jay Fresh an aneurysm.
I guess I don't either. I guess I don't either. You make This is the let me hold on. Let me use what Claude has said most recently to me asking something. Let's see. Oh, it's gotten real dark lately. I think Claude is getting tired, or Gemini's getting tired.
Getting depressed? Are you depressing Gemini?
He's not telling me how I've like one-shotted the problem by identifying the.
This is for Pickles
For a
Picks.
while he was just like, you've gotten to the core issue. You've solved it. This is the final solution. We've gone through like 100 final solutions.
It's just trying to get you to stop using compute suggestively.
Yeah. And it's
like in the background of every chat GPT prompt is a calculator determining how much money is being lost. And that's why the longer your conversation goes on, the worse the answers get. You know that there's like a paper on that. Like somebody did a really good, I gotta find you that. Somebody did a really good study.
No, I know. Like, they definitely nerf it over time. I understand all of that, but I want the answer, and I have been told that these things do that. So I'm trying to get my money's worth, which is $0.
I would prefer, I hope everybody in the world is actively using AI and all these GPT models as much as feasibly possible, because you guys are bringing down the patriarchy single. They do
at home, but they don't really so much at work because they have to get their actual job done.
Yeah, I've noticed. I saw I published a thing about that. Nobody's using it at work.
Somebody from FinTwit wrote like a hypothetical. If you ran a company and you could replace all your workers with something that was right 85% of the time, would you pay for that service to let your workers use it to increase their productivity, or would you replace them? And my response was just like, if it's 85% of the time, I would just fire everybody and create a random number generator to output whatever it is that I'm selling, because it's basically a coin flip. %85 accuracy? Who? Only the financial industry could be like, yeah, that's good value.
No, what? All right, yeah.
And we're not talking about like predict,
you know what I want out of this is,
which trades are going to be profitable with 85% accuracy. That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about like, write this email to get the outcome I want, or write the equation in this Excel block to get the correct number.
Wait, what?
You're compounding 85% accuracy. How many times? Let's see. Hold on. How many times do I have to multiply 85 to get to below a coin flip? 5 times. Yeah. 4. So if you use AI, if you ask AI something more than 5 times, you've now gone to coin flip territory.
Yep.
Fuck. And I spent all day fucking with this shit.
Maybe more than 5 times. Now you're.
Guess what I accomplished today, guys? Fucking nothing.
You can't, dude. The productivity gains are purely in vibes. Okay.
I'm not feeling the vibes, dork. Where are my vibes?
Dude, you're just, you know what it is, JFresh, is you're not prompting good enough. You need better prompts. Have you thought about that? That you should just prompt better?
No, what I need is somebody who knows C++ and is somewhat familiar with this system, who is willing to give me 3 hours of their time for free. That is, I would gladly give them $1,000. I will never give any of these bots $1,000.
Why does Volga determine the rate of change and price of out-of-the-money contracts? First of all, don't ever call it Volga. That's vulgar.
Volga D's nuts.
People call it Voma. and it's the rate of the rate of change in Vega relative to implied volatility. Remember, Vega is one of the big boy Greeks. It's a first order Greek. Speaking of which, Dork, I want Voma. I told you
You
this.
want
I told you this fucking a year ago. I have the deal.
No, what you told us like 2 years ago is like, here's all the things we're not gonna sell. Got him. Got him.
That's true.
He can add it, but then everyone's gonna know it's there and they're gonna want it.
I mean, it's kind of cool. I just want it for me. I didn't say for everyone.
Well, that's the
We don't have
problem,
to-
is that they
we
know
don't
that
have to
you're going to be withholding things.
I withhold so much. I don't even put.
We're
fucking
currently not
axes on
withholding very
charts.
much, which makes it less fun.
Yeah,
It's more
and
fun
that's why
when
I
we
want
have
more
secret
things.
data.
That's why I want more things to withhold.
Well,
And then we
I
slowly
could
distribute those to
run
the
my
public
script.
over time, and then
I
we
just
then we
gotta.
build new things to withhold.
I haven't run my script for a while. I could run my script on the SPX, but it's been the overnight pricing on 0DTs is so wild. I just kind of stopped watching it because it really just matters like what the pricing is in the morning, and by then I'm too busy to do anything with it. But you know what? I'm gonna close out all of this other bullshit I've been working on because
People really underestimate the importance of where SPX opens relative to its chain.
Oh, it's very important because
It's so
everybody
important.
just like,
Changes
yeah.
everything. Wait, what? I can chat GPT the patriarchy away? Yes.
Yeah, that's what do you think I was doing back when I was making
Actually,
AI
if
penis
everybody
art?
in the world would just build bots that constantly prompted all of the GPT models, we could be done with this shit in less than a year.
See, here's the problem is that everybody's using clawbots and they're paying for it through the API,
Gross.
which is the worst possible outcome because people are just like they're tithing to Anthropic.
85% couldn't properly sort trash or potatoes. Untrue. Potatoes are trash, and so there's no actual sorting required.
Yeah. And they're also not magnetic, so you could easily sort that at the dump.
No, I'm referencing the zero DTE options trading. The opening price of SPX. Watching futures overnight is very important because the opening price of SPX is a big deal. Opening in different ranges, and that's why I define all the ranges and what like price action to expect in those ranges and pickles picks, because opening in those ranges drastically changes the outcome of what type of price action you should expect, which some of you have figured out already, but I feel like it needed to be said more implicitly. Because you get stuff like today. Explicitly? Possibly. I do feel like I'm still implying things, though. You guys got very quiet. Why are you so quiet? Dork's muted.
I just got quiet because I'm pretty sure I've been locked out of production, even though I requested not to be.
But I wasn't locked out because I was able to use that to fix the issue we had with our fucking data provider.
Well, that's why I told him not to lock you, me, and Atomic and a few other people out because we need that shit. Hold on.
Who's locked out of what?
Well, JFresh, you should have read access. Don't think you're locked out.
Is that the thing where like we have to pay for actual access per person that has it? I have it.
No.
Hold on.
Although, Gherk, I do want to lock you out of everything on the back end.
No.
I know.
Okay.
Even though you have no actual feasible way of getting in there anyways.
Yes, I do.
Oh shit, did my IP change?
That might be it.
Fuck. You had this issue too, Gert, didn't you?
Yeah, because I had to reset my fiber node the other day because my power went out. But I only have to change my IP when I reset I have to like go up on my roof and reset the fiber thing. Otherwise it stays
Your
static
roof?
the rest of the time. That's where it is.
How do you have access to that?
I live in a building that's got a roof.
Yeah, but okay.
There's like a pool, and then there's like a utility room.
Oh shit, am I connected to my... Nope, not connected to a VPN.
Well, go fucking complain about it.
We broke one day implied move. Is that when you look at Vega Vana to see how much further we could fall? Yeah, I look at Vana if we break below the implied move. Generally, that's kind of where you start to see the volatility, or well, the price of options change very rapidly. Not necessarily the volatility, but sometimes the volatility. Tend to get big moves in the skew when you go below the 1 day implied move. Because all the options that were bought the night before were then priced wrong. A portion of your trades are value based. I haven't really bought a lot of long term stocks in like the last. When was the last big one? Like 6 months ago, I think. My value stocks have always just been like shit I buy for my portfolio, and with everything in the market trading at like a 30x plus PE, there's not a whole lot that I think is worth buying.
Dude, 30x PE is the future of stonks, bro. This time's different.
Majority of my trades are probably like volatility based. Like I shorted Nvidia today because of volatility. That was fun. Ooh, did I tell you guys I shorted the fuck out of Nvidia today?
Ooh.
I told everyone last night in SPX chat, I was like, if Nvidia opens flat, I'm gonna short the ever-loving fuck out of it. It opened pretty flat.
How much money did you make?
So, more than you're gonna make this year.
Fuck you. You're mean to me.
I know. I'm sorry. It's like, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Gammastrike's gonna explode in usage, and you're gonna kill it this year. After you build JFresh the tools he wants you to build.
I mean, if I kill it this year, I'll make a decent amount of money. Nothing like what you make from just fucking like accidentally forgetting you had futures contracts open.
You always say afterward. What do you mean afterward? I didn't say afterward. I literally told everyone last night in SPX chat. I was like, if Nvidia opens flat, I'm shorting it. It opened flat-ish.
Sorry, I just got a signed contract. 1 second.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, no, I might actually make more money this year than I ever have in my life. I'm pretty excited about that.
That's cool, man. I'm happy for you. I like what you're doing. I'm glad it's drastically better than your prior job.
You know why though? It's because he has the support of 3 fathers.
He never could have done this without all his extra dads.
You know what's funny is you guys aren't even just my only patrical gaggle. I have more fathers.
Are you
as well.
cheating on us?
More like I've been cheating on them. But as good
Ooh,
fathers, they
even
know, and they just let
worse.
me into it.
We're your fatherly booty call.
More like fatherly sloppy seconds.
All right, I know what I am. I'll be right back.
Well, stock is falling and DEX approaches 0. Does that generally signal the bottom? No. Are you talking about like... Well, hold on. Are you talking about like positive delta approaches 0, or are you talking about like DEX on the whole chain? Kind of hard to go down if there's no delta. But I mean, if DEX is getting to 0 or anywhere near 0, that stock's like going bankrupt or something. But yeah, if you're talking about DEX on the whole chain, delta falling off of the chain, so rising towards 0, because DEX is measured negatively because we're looking at it from the market maker's perspective. So if there's, if delta is less negative as it becomes more positive, there is less overall interest on the chain. The DEX would be expanding. That's probably, on a rising stock, it's probably better to look at DEXA and see if options are continuously being bought or not. If you keep seeing DEXA rise, which DEXA can go above 0, DEX can't, because 0 would be there are no contracts on the chain. Dork, you're missing the conversation about your fiance.
Oh God, sorry,
and how she's way out of your league.
Yeah, she definitely is. She's smoking hot. Yeah, no, just imagine frumpy, dorky old me with just some ridiculously hot lady. And I'm just standing there like, what did I do right? I ask her, I'm like, how did I manage to pull you? And she's like, well, you make good food and you aren't an asshole. And I was like, okay, I guess that's what it takes.
Yeah, actually, you can also just be tall. Being tall is a good one.
Yeah, I've heard those relationships are a little more vapid.
Yeah, true. Ooh, yeah, this is the other thing I want made. Intraday VRP. But no one can have it, just me.
Can I get through the thing JFresh wants me to make, and then I'll figure out how to make it, and then I'll also put that on Nuke's plate?
Yeah, we have to actually figure that out, because you can't use realized volatility on the 0 DTE, obviously.
So I mean, you kind of could, but it'd be weird looking.
It'd be bad. We got to use something cooler. Because, like, just doing the spread between intraday IV and intraday HV is lame as fuck.
Well, I mean, you could technically figure out historic volatility by taking like the closing candle for the day.
We don't need to tell people secrets.
That's fine. Jeez.
Yeah.
Get me all excited about this shit and then tell me to shut
up.
I'm
telling you that we'll goon in private.
Ooh, that's something I like. Secret goons.
Mm-hmm. Maybe this time when I suggest you a stock to buy, you'll actually buy it.
That's never gonna happen, Gurk.
You've missed out on so much money, Dork.
Tell you what, Gurk. Tell you what. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take 10 grand and throw it in my brokerage account. The next time you tell me to buy a stock, I'm fucking full porting it.
There we go. But
Because
here's
believe it or not,
the
that 10 grand.
here's the caveat. I'm not going to tell you when to get out.
I'm gonna lose everything. Financially ruined. You know what I'm gonna do is when I'm getting ready to take a screenshot when I'm up a bunch, that's when I'm not gonna sell because it's gonna go up even more.
What's Corebridge at?
Uh,
Oh wow, the price of Corebridge really hasn't improved since we sold last year.
What do you mean we?
Oh, you still have it?
Yeah, well, it's because it's been flat, and I see no reason to sell it if it's flat.
I sold it at
The dividend
$30.
has been getting shitty, though. It's kind of disappointing.
Yeah. I feel like that's like a big market signal. The fact that Corebridge has been flat since March of 2024.
Probably.
Hmm.
I mean, they're like the Walmart of insurance, right? So, like, you know.
No, nobody knows who they are. Nobody knows about BlackRock and Blackstone's joint ventures.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
It's called fraud, people. God, remember the whole conspiracy I fucking baked up when we found that stock?
Oh, yeah. It was wild.
I miss having time to bake up insane stock conspiracies that were 100% accurate.
Oh, yeah. No, they used to be so much fun to do. I mean, I still have some stock conspiracies going, but I mean, everybody has the same stock conspiracy at this point because fucking AI.
Wait, Pakistan and Afghanistan are going to war?
What?
Yeah, the Pakistani defense minister. Our cup of patience has overflowed. Now it is open war with Afghanistan. It sounds like a declaration of war.
Are they going to nuke Afghanistan? Doesn't Pakistan have nukes?
Yeah.
Are they going to nuke Afghanistan?
They're not going to waste nukes on Afghanistan. There's no population density sufficient to make the cost worthwhile. They'll just deploy like Soviet era like viruses or something, like biological or chemical warfare.
Oh, right. Or they could just, I mean, you could just, instead of a nuke, you could just do a dirty bomb and like Kabul.
Oh yeah, just like blow up some of their like not great refined uranium or plutonium.
Yeah, you know, yellow cake for everyone, right?
Yeah. You could do it, or you got to do it as like atmospherically. Like you detonate a dirty bomb like 2,000 feet above sea level, like an EMP, and then it just rains death.
Right. Well, rains protracted death.
Yeah.
That's awful. They'll probably do it.
I have a sick mind. Why has nobody talked about that? I feel like I've never heard anybody say that. Like that seems like the most effective use of a dirty bomb.
I mean, well, the thing is that most of the time people want to try to do their imperialism thing without making the entire world hate them instantly. And what you're suggesting would make the entire world hate Pakistan instantly.
Who's fond of them? Not India. That's for sure.
Let me get back to you on that.
Okay.
I don't know who's fond of Pakistan. Pakistan's fond of Pakistan.
Sun Tzu is disappointed in you. Why?
Because he probably said some weird Confucian ass shit that makes no sense and says you shouldn't detonate dirty bombs.
Atmospheric dirty bombs.
Right, yeah. Those things.
Atmospheric detonate. Wait, what I wonder what like the highest like gamma emitter is, like what the highest density gamma emitter is, and that's what you'd want to fill your dirty bomb with, so it just falls straight down. Like the explosion creates a big cloud, but then the cloud just falls straight down to the ground. There wouldn't be any drift.
Plutonium dust?
Maybe. What's that stuff they put in MRI machines where like one dipshit gets their hand on it and like kills an entire neighborhood?
That sounds like crack.
No. I mean, yeah, but no. Cesium?
Oh yeah, cesium is nasty stuff. There we go.
Yeah,
now we're talking.
Cesium 137. So you fill your dirty bomb with cesium.
Okay, or you just create demon cores and then just drop a whole bunch of them onto the streets.
Interesting. Yeah, but you got to carry them. That's the problem. That's also that isn't.
Well, you can
demon core like theoretical.
No, it was a real thing. I mean, you just got to keep that gap open until like when it drops, the gap shuts, and then next thing you know, you've got a bunch of supercritical uranium just fucking sitting on the street.
I thought the demon core was like plutonium and gallium.
I don't remember the exact composition of it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was uranium surrounded by a shell of something rather. And this guy was holding, like, the shell was like cut in half, and this dude was like holding it open with a screwdriver to keep it from going supercritical because all the neutrons would hit the shell and like bounce back into the uranium. Basically, like a tiny little fission reactor, right? And the screwdriver slipped and it went supercritical, and then everyone in the room died of radiation poisoning.
Because you don't seed rain clouds with cesium, because then if it drifts over Afghanistan into Eastern Europe, your country's going to get blown to smithereens.
Yeah, that's a quick way to make the worst kinds of enemies.
Yeah. Also, you'd kill like everybody on the planet.
Essentially.
Everything on the planet.
Just about. Well, you'd also pave the path for new life to evolve very quickly.
That's true. I have a friend whose family is from Pakistan. You being friends with a Pakistani person does not mean the country of Pakistan has any allies.
Wait, they have a friend who's from Pakistan? Is that like I have black friends, so I know all about that stuff?
No, because I said nobody likes Pakistan. I meant from an international political perspective, not nobody likes a individual Pakistani people.
I'm sure Pakistani folks are fine. I mean, it's the Pareto distribution where, most people are just normal people. It's just the crazy few that get everybody kind of worked up in a tizzy. And
Isn't the U.S. an ally of Pakistan? The U.S. isn't an ally of anyone under its current administration.
Russia.
That's true. Okay. Yeah, well, we are pretty allied with Russia.
Yes, we have reached alignment.
I'd rather have Putin than Trump. Like if I had to pick.
What are you guys talking about? Orange old people.
Well, I
Who's
got the idea. I got the idea for Pakistan to create a cesium dirty bomb and atmospherically detonate it.
Okay, well, glad I'm here. Great. This
And
is gonna
then
be great for me in my career.
I talked about. Well, Pakistan went to war with Afghanistan officially.
Don't worry,
And
you're
and
assigned an
and
Those
Dork was like, they're going to use nukes, and I was like, no, they're not, because Afghanistan's just a big rock. And
yeah,
then,
nobody wants to
and then
waste a really expensive nuke on nothing.
I was trying to think of the most efficient deployment method for a dirty bomb. And then, and then we decided which was the most easily accessible and deadly radioactive material for
good.
that.
Yeah.
And then we moved on
directly
to
into the mic.
Putin, Russia being allied with the U.S. and maybe being our only current ally, and then that devolved into me saying I would rather Putin was president than Trump.
Oh, interesting.
Like if I had to pick, if I could only pick between the two, I'd vote for Putin. Because at least he's not a fucking idiot.
That might be the only saving grace, though, of Trump. Like, he's going to be a tyrant, but at least he's
like a dumb
also
tyrant.
a dipshit.
There have been a lot of dumb tyrants that have caused a lot of death. I can think of one Viennese art student who caused quite a bit of trouble. And if you've ever read his book, he was definitely a fucking moron.
Fair.
Well, it's usually idiots.
I've already figured out
evil people who are actually smart.
I've already figured out exactly what will fix the country. You only need to do one thing.
Divide us all up into independent countries?
No. We just need a president that will veto literally everything and demand that Congress pass things with 2/3 majorities.
Oh shit.
That's it.
Basically a lame duck president though.
Yeah, but it's forced, and you have to bully them every day for not getting their fucking job done.
Nice. I actually like it. But you know
Yeah,
what?
it's perfect. It's actually flawless. You just need a president that's willing to nuke their own reputation.
We already
have right. Just
willfully, understandably nuking their own reputation.
Okay.
Who ideally is also not a geriatric. So they have some skin in the game. I mean, you could also do other things like to push back on Congress as a president, besides like, decree by authoritarianism. Like you could basically just tell the Department of War, I want you to cut 10% or 20% of your budget and give it back to Congress and bully them into that.
That'd be cool.
You need to work on passing your audit.
Yeah, or just say no more fresh funding till you pass your audit.
I don't know if the president can do that, but I'm surely a president that has a lot of political sway could potentially pressure the people that he puts in charge of the DOW to give some of the money back. There's a lot of interesting things you could do that basically all of them are centered around trying to get Congress to actually shut the fuck up and do their job.
Their job is to collect bribes from corporations. They're doing a great job.
No.
Yes.
I understand what you're saying. That is their that is the way that they optimize that situation for themselves, and the environment allows it. But that's not their job in spirit.
Mm.
That is mechanically their job, but that is not their job in spirit. Their job is to pass a fucking budget. Anyway,
Well,
the other staple of my platform is sterilization for the poor and euthanasia for the homeless. So vote for me.
classic engineer. Haha.
It's rational. Saber, your thoughts on sterilization of the poor? It seems like you have a lot to say there.
I'm in favor of the poor, populating
Being
the world.
sterilized?
No, populating the
Oh,
world.
okay.
The meek shall
Well,
inherit the
listen.
earth and all that jazz.
You know what? I took a coin flip. I was roughly 85% accurate. So,
What did Cloud say?
it depends on how many times you ask it.
So I have probably two questions. One that's been just nagging me for a while. On the vol page, the vol surface, what do the colors mean when there's like different hues on it? Does that
Nothing.
mean anything? Absolutely nothing.
And it means absolutely nothing. It is a color. It is a gentle color gradient that mimics the change in height, which is already displayed by the change in height. So it means nothing, but it will mean something soon.
Puts and calls.
Also true.
Dork
much
knows what
more
I'm
than
talking
that.
about because it's gonna tell you bought or sold, roughly,
That'd be cool.
And
Let's
where.
tell you spiciness.
and how bought or sold over what time frame.
Will that be more definitive than
With a
the ridges and
4-year
rises
look back.
that it currently is?
It's gonna it'll be the best product. It'll be the best volatility product on the market for retail, hands down. No question.
He's right about that. It's really
Yeah.
fucking good.
Yeah, you guys have been teasing us for about 3-4 months now.
Yeah, I built
About
it
time.
over Christmas break. And I showed it to Dork. I gave him my code. He has to transcribe it into a language that anyone gives a shit about. I wrote it in MATLAB because that's the only thing I know because I'm old.
Worst programming
and
language in the world. Yeah.
It's not the worst. It's the best documentation of any programming language. So there's a lesson there.
You guys should port it over to COBOL.
There we go.
So we can pay IBM $20 million to convert it to Python.
Not Python, C++.
No, you use an Anthropic COBOL agent.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's
ChatGPT
gonna
can
replace
fucking
IBM.
translate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
ChatGPT.
I just
I mean,
spent all
IBM's stock
day.
went down like 13% when they announced it.
I spent all day. Yeah, I spent all day fighting with all of the AI agents about lamps, which is written in C++ and written in a little bit of Python, but a lot of C++. I'm not super confident that they're going to nail that Cobalt.
I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
It's too antiquated.
It's not even that. It's just that it doesn't actually produce purposeful code. It produces slop. And yeah, you can loop it and try to constrain it and give it a clear optimization function. But it's still just going to be iterating slop and hoping that it achieves. It just doesn't seem like a very good idea. I'd much rather prefer to have people who built it purposely and understand it and then pay them a shitload of money to always be able to answer questions about it.
Okay. All right. So, Gert, can you pull up T2's gamma curve? This popped up probably like yesterday and today.
What's the stock?
T2. It came up as a Pickles pick maybe a week or two ago. Or not Pickles pick, a weekend stream stock of interest.
E2?
Yeah.
Give me the letters.
TTWO.
Oh, TTWO. Ooh.
So what the fuck is that?
It's a bunch of
So I've been
gamma
playing
and a
it.
strike above spot.
So is that how it's represented? Because this is like, I mean, I guess it's because gamma is expanding into expiration. But last week it was a smooth curve with like a steep drop, and then it progressed as calls expired on the Feb OPEX or whatever. So now I'm trying to figure out, like, I've seen before where it has like two gamma maxes, but is this like two gamma neutrals or what's going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to go to the So I was gonna say go to the Greeks by strike. Go back to the Greeks by strike.
I played the bounce off of Vega neutral.
Yep.
And Vega
So
dropped
okay.
sharply. That right there.
Yeah, and you what?
Yeah.
Hold on. What are you? Yeah. But go to OI. Because OI can give you a better sense of how that curve's going to play out. Yeah. See that huge fucking put position at 225?
Yeah.
So if you look at, so you have to do the integral in your head. But if that position doesn't have a ton of gamma at the current spot, but if the price was going to rise, that position would start to grow a lot of gamma.
So my inference,
and so there's a dip there. As you start approaching it, you start seeing more of that gamma.
So is this a making of a gamma squeeze? Because that came in above spot about a couple days ago, and looking at the OI and the vol at that strike from the volatility page, it looks like it was sold. So I'm just like trying to piece together what's been going on, because OI coming in is bullish, and then the neutrals are all moving bullish. But the fact that the neutrals moved so much, it's like,
what is going on? This looks like something's about to happen. What's going on with this in the news? What's the next event?
It got shorted around earnings.
Those
after,
puts are bought.
I
think they're bought. Yeah.
I don't think they're bought. Or maybe it's a part of a spread, because it looks like they opened up
It could be a
a
spread.
spread on OI. Yeah. It looked like a bull put spread to me. So what happened was it got shorted.
Were they opened in the money or out of the money?
In the money. Recently.
Yeah, there's something else going on there than if they were opened in the money. It's going to be a different play. It's hard to squeeze something that was opened in the money, right? Because the leverage is so low.
But if you cross the chain, it looks pretty bullish. I don't know. But it got shorted.
Maybe, but
AI was saying they can make video games or something. Like AI makes video games better than actual video games.
I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, those are gonna adjust, but it's hard to say. I mean, that it's not rational what's happening in those areas. I mean, I think this sell-off of SaaS and
I don't think all those puts are. I don't think all those puts are sold. I don't even think very many of them are sold.
But it's a little bit. It's a little like it almost doesn't matter, because if they were open in the money, the leverage is so low. It's going to be really hard for you to argue that there's some sort of squeeze scenario when,
even though not the skew, but the steepness of the gamma curve, like if it gets over that little hump that right there that we're looking at.
Yeah.
I feel like
so. I'll say this: if you get over the hump and you see a huge amount of those positions closing in the intraday while price is improving, then maybe you'll get something.
See, I feel like you get over that hump and you just get slammed into 225 and stuck there.
Well, that's sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
If
kind
you
of
even get over the
evidence
hump.
since 190.
Yeah, I don't think you get over the hump. Like, I mean, if you look at where those puts are, and then you look at the supportive gamma that's keeping spot where it is, one is substantially weaker than the other. And like, it's far easier for the stock to drop than go up.
Yeah.
Like the path
I don't
of least
think, and at least
resistance
from
is
the
right back down again.
From the narrative too about AI replacing stuff, I don't think it's a rational position that people have found themselves at. Just like it wasn't rational on the way up, it's not going to be rational on the way down. And so it doesn't matter that it's not going to replace games, because it wasn't going to really replace anything on the way up either, right? And so you've got to be careful about trying to over predict what participants are feeling and how that feeling is going to evolve over a very short period of time. But as far as positioning goes, it doesn't look like anybody is expecting this to.
Selling in the money puts is very dangerous. I mean, mechanically, it pushes the market maker against you. So if someone
I don't think that they just sold like a single. If it was a sold put position on this, like it's probably coupled with something else, and we just won't understand like the whole risk profile there. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty uncommon to sell them just as a single position in the money, because like
What's the heat map?
unless somebody just wants to own it because they're thinking what I'm thinking, which is they're not going to replace it.
Yeah,
And they want to have some optionality on, well, if it pops right back up, I don't want to own it. I just want to profit without.
Yeah, I've been watching for the last couple of days, and it's been shifting around a lot. But I see a lot of like bullish positioning coming in, and the neutrals are trending down, which just biased me towards more upside. So I got in around like 190 or whatever. But today and yesterday, the gamma curve got a little funky, and I wanted to know what's going on.
Well, it's because you're getting closer to expiry, and so the gamma is getting exacerbated here. But as far as like that put position that's causing all of that, like I said, either it's bought and it was bought in the money, which means it's low leverage, which means it's a hard chance of being the thing that gets squeezed. It could get squeezed, but something else is going to have to precipitate that squeeze. And then if they're sold,
that's the thing is like if they're bought puts, then they can get squeezed. But if they're sold puts, very unlikely that a squeeze would occur from them.
Yeah, if they're sold, and there's not like a more complex position, coupled to it that we're just not aware of, then most likely they're just thinking like, well, if it V's like everything else does in this market, I don't want to own it. I just want to profit off of the reversal.
Yeah, think about GME for a second. If you remember from back in the day, like GME squeezed because people sold so many calls on it, so the vol would get crushed, and then all the calls would close, and then it would rally. They were not selling puts though. Like there was no like you rarely see in the money put selling except for like indexes, and even then it's kind of only on like the
part
most
of a more
bullish
complicated position.
Yeah. And if there's spreads, it's even less likely. Like if they were bull put spreads, it would be even less likely that they would squeeze, because the second they went out of the money, people would just collapse the whole position. Like they would just take profits on it immediately, because there's like very little benefit to sitting in the put spread as it decays out at that point.
Yeah, you tend to squeeze slightly out of the money options much more, just because of the leverage, right? The losses can be so much larger than the gains.
Yeah. That's why like the SPX rarely moves down just like 50 bips. It's usually like it'll move down like 100 or like 150 on a big move down, because so many puts are sold far out of the money and the leverage on those is huge, that like once things start falling and things are selling off, the like you get kind of an exponential sell off.
So, what was going on with the sharp drop in VN over the last couple of days on SPX? I know you noticed that.
That's put selling. That's probably like a lot of
Is that put selling? I thought it was more cost selling. I thought it was more call selling.
It can be both. It can be both. I would actually say that the thing I see SPX doing right now is all of the distribution of all of the Greeks seems to just be getting closer to spot. Like the SPX, like interest in the SPX is just dying out of the money. I think the bulls have gotten burned too many times and the bears have gotten burned too many times, and we're just getting like a flat market. Which is true. Right? I mean, SPX has been pretty flat since like October.
I was just thinking that today. I was like watching us just like ricochet from like 69.50 to 68.50 over and over and over again. I was just like, this has to be dissipating money, right? I mean, the money has to be slowly dissipating and collecting into the market makers' pockets. And at some point, people have to give up, right?
They just won't. And I want them to, but they won't.
Well, I mean, you know, VIX is persistent. They still haven't been able to fully shake, you know, what's happening on the VIX.
Was I muted there, or did you guys hear what I said?
What did you say?
I said that like the distribution of all of the Greeks on the chain is getting closer to spot.
Yeah. You
like the chain. Oh, okay, all right. I didn't know if I was muted or not.
No, we heard that.
I just don't know that anybody.
My thinking was because VN's moving closer to spot, it was more that sold calls were coming in, more sold calls than sold puts. So that's not the proper way of thinking because of just the market maker dynamics around puts.
I mean, I guess skew would indicate that more calls are being sold than puts are being sold because skew on SPX has been kind of trending down. Like especially across like the 10, like the front bucket, like the 1030, like skew's been pretty consistently dropping for a while now. So you probably are seeing more calls sold than we usually see, but like I mean, that's not...
Yeah, so the way to think about it is, you know, at spot, you have some amount of puts below and some amount of calls above. And if they're in perfect balance on all of these Greeks, right, the Greeks are all going to sit at spot. And it is an imbalance on one side or the other that causes a deviation from spot. And the imbalance always moves away from the larger side. So when you have like Vega neutral collapsing and kind of moving in towards spot, that's telling you that, okay, well, it was previously above, which means that it was an overweighting of puts on the chain. And now as it's coming in, so now we're coming more into balance between puts and calls, particularly those that are far out of the money and with some time so that they have Vega on the chain.
Yeah, that's so the other thing I was going to say is that we're probably losing a lot of duration as well because the future is uncertain.
So either we had an outsized position. So if we come in from the assumption that we had an outsized position on puts, probably sold. Either those puts are closing, some of them are closing, or people are opening calls. Or both.
What was that last part? You said people are opening calls?
Yeah. So it is a
But
shift
that can be
from puts
sold
to
to
calls.
open.
Right. It could be sold. It doesn't necessarily mean
It could
bear
also
to
be
bull.
that
It means
they're being sold shorter dated. Like everything is just another big component of Vega is theta, right? The less the less theta, the less Vega is going to be on the chain overall. And so, VN coming in like that towards spot can also just be that like the duration is all falling off. So people aren't selling 90-day puts or 90-day calls. They're selling like 5 days or 10 days or very very short term options positions, which is putting all of the Vega like at the money.
so if you want to start getting really creative and fun, you then transition to the macro page and see what leverage is doing. And we see a continuation of our slow transition from sold puts to less sold puts. We got to zoom out farther on the timescales for OI leverage. And an increase in leverage on calls over this whole time. What that is telling me is that likely sold puts are becoming less sold and calls are becoming more sold. So I think we're shifting, right? We're kind of transitioning from this largely sold put environment to becoming, transitioning to a little bit more in line of a sold call environment. Now, sold call environments can squeeze.
Yeah, because that's what happened from.
They can also be bear markets.
Right. Something's got to squeeze it, right?
Yeah, if nothing squeezes it and the regime shifts, then you get a bear market. That's what happened.
But this is kind of what we were talking about a little bit on the Volstars episode last week of how we are seeing a transition. Everybody made a bunch of money. Everyone now has a bunch of indigestion. I'm going to keep using that word until somebody tells me to stop. About, what the future holds with this trade. Everything seems a little bit over the skis. And people are positioning for that, right? They're becoming more protective. And so you see this consistent bid for VIX 20, which is insane over the last 2 years, right? I mean, it's like VIX, we should be at VIX 12 right now based on how the market's moving, right? The intraday is preventing that, right? Because that longer term foundation of sold puts is crumbling, right? So you have more volatility in the intraday, which is kind of it's all kind of part of this. All of this stuff is basically signaling the same thing, that they made their money, they're getting worried, and they're adjusting their positions very, very slowly into it. But nobody wants to get out of the trade, right? Because nobody wants to miss out on, life-changing
But how does the carry
gains.
trade online factor into that? Because wouldn't the carry trade just the vast amount of money involved in the carry trade just not crush any other notion of value in the market? So yeah, what are they shifting to? It's just once it comes unwound, it's just going to be catastrophic.
Well,
So
they've
the
been
carry
shifting
trade,
to gold on silver.
the carry trade, and any other
Oil.
credit-based trade, right? Any other levered trade
Basis
or
basis
speculative trade. Well, I mean, it's a levered trade, but
It is, but it's
any
still
trade
a
like
basis
that,
trade.
yeah, fine. But those are going to be the things when those unwind. That would be why we go down. The thing about like how people are positioning now, they're positioning for preserving the profits that they made. That positioning is not necessary. It's unlikely on its own to cause us to unwind.
Historically, though, it precedes unwinding.
Yes,
because when
because
people
there's a
are
good
more
reason
neutrally-
why they feel worried.
Yeah. Well, not only
There
that,
are
but
good
like,
reasons.
but psychologically, when people are neutrally positioned, they are more willing to sell than if they are bullishly positioned.
Yeah, well, they're all positioned to sell if things go bad, right? That's kind of where the market's at. It's like I don't want to get out if things keep going up because they've been going up for a long time, but I don't want to bet so hard on it continuing to go up, which is going to prevent it from going up. So we're flat. So that shift has kind of made us flat and choppy. But I think the thing that would have to cause us to come down, if you're looking at like the macro page, is a collapse of contract value or delta value or leverage. And that hasn't happened yet. And so you've got to look at other places. Who is going to collapse their leverage? And so that's why I look so much at like Bitcoin, which to me is a rough, it's crude, but it's a crude measure of how well the AI build out is going because you've got something like $50 billion worth of Bitcoin miner leverage baked into that. And if they have to pay interest on their delayed data centers that aren't generating any money, they'll sell Bitcoin because it's worthless. Why not? But yeah, also, yeah, just so still just in the carry trade too, if that pressures somebody enough to get out. Although at this point, I don't know what it's going to take there. It seems like that should have been a bigger deal than it has been so far. And this is the thing that actually Andy Constant, who I follow on X, he spent a lot of his career doing credit trading, and he kind of reiterated something that I think is pretty obvious from just like the last 20 years is like when people get in on the wrong side of a credit trade, they double and triple down and they do everything they can to fight its collapse. Because both sides of that trade, both the lender and the lendee, lose if credit collapses. And so everybody does whatever they can to prevent it from doing so. And I think that's kind of where we're kind of at like maybe the fifth or sixth inning of that.
Yeah, but
I don't know with like commercial. I don't know where we are commercial. We could be even farther than that in commercial. I don't know where that sits, but like commercial real estate is dog shit. And it's dog shit because people talked about how dog shit it was like a year ago and it's gotten worse and now nobody talks about it anymore. So yeah, I mean there's just you're just kind of waiting for somebody to just throw in the towel and it
The thing is,
always takes longer.
when those trades unwind, it's not like a vol event. It's like a global recession.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's.
If you're looking for a vol event, I mean that's going to be an event, right? You're not going to like see the signs of it 3 months out, right? It's just going to happen, right? Trump's going to come out with like his fucking laminated poster board.
I don't know. You can kind of see the signs of it like a couple months out because we see the signs of it right now.
We see the sign, but we've seen the signs of it, right? I mean, we've seen the signs of it since the end of the tail end of 2024.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean,
We
the
keep
tail end of
seeing
2024.
Like we've seen a few mini Volmageddons and then one big one.
Yeah.
Like that one drop on the slightly weak jobs report was a huge warning sign.
Yeah, I really just think everybody needs to. The jobs report is irrelevant now. It's not signal anymore. It's not even a measurement. It's just noise.
We should save all this for Volstars and call it a night.
Yeah, probably. We're getting pretty deep into Volstars territory.
It's pretty late. I gotta go too. All right. Thanks, guys. See you.
Yeah, hope that helped, man. Have a good one.
No, I didn't. See you.
Baby farms?
Yeah,
Yep. Baby
this
farms.
is a great so there's I'll let you guys go in a minute, I promise. But there's an art to asking questions, and part of that art is accepting the answer when you get the answer you wanted. I asked somebody a pretty complicated question the other day, and they gave me an answer. And I've done this long enough to know that they looked at me at the end of their answer almost with like pensive eyes of just like, do you accept? And I responded with, thank you very much for that answer. And then he relaxed and his eyes moved away from me and moved on. But it wasn't until I gave him the affirmation that I accepted his answer that he felt it was okay to stop. There's an art to accepting an answer. Anyway, you all can ponder that as we baby farms.
Baby farms.
Baby farms.